We don't have any game sounds. Now we do. Fixed. Now I'm pressing the wrong... I actually just... My keyboard is just in the wrong place or something. Or my hands are on the wrong part of my keyboard. Because I'm pressing all of the wrong buttons possible today. Alright. Not the end of the world. Hopefully the audio observing will be perfectly fine anyway. I'm sure it will be. You guys know the audio observing is always beautiful, right? Top right-hand corner, it is going to be our red Protoss player. This is PartinG. Taking on the blue Terran in the bottom left-hand corner, Dream from Good Game Gaming. And these are going to be best of threes all day long. So best of three, best of three, best of three, best of three, best of three. Until our grand final, which will be a best of five. But the winner bracket player will start up 1-0. So it's a fun day of action. I think we've got some great players involved. Hoping Dream can stand up and put up a good fight, because yeah, I think he should be able to. I don't want to say he's the weaker player in this group, but we know PartinG's been playing great lately. His Dest is obviously just coming off a GSL second place. Solo's always fantastic, and I just feel like Dream is maybe the one player who maybe could be more hit and miss across this set of players. As we do just nibble around. So this is double elimination, guys. It's kind of like, imagine it's just like a GSL style group, double elimination group. But instead of just having two players advancing through, those two players play a grand final match where, again, the player from the winning bracket has like a 1-0 lead in that matchup. That's how today is going to be working. So that's what we've got in store for us as the SCV scouts, while the probe is delaying and diddle-daddling around over on this side of the map. I'm Rakit, what's up? Thank you so much for the 29-month resub on the Prime. Hell yeah, and thank you a lot. Really appreciate the resub. Thanks for supporting the channel. This probe is chased away as it was a Marine first, so no Reaper, so we're not going to scout across the map. That does mean you're going to have 50 extra gas to spend on a slightly quicker factory, and potentially even a slightly quicker reactor as well. The reactor's about the same time. I mean, it's a little bit faster, because you still build a Marine, and that builds faster than a Reaper. It's going to be 2 more racks behind this, so we're going to play 3 racks off the back of it. That's kind of interesting. His partner is setting up a pylon across the map as well. Let's see what he wants to put down here. 3 racks can be very good in some scenarios and very bad in others, and he's just going to put down extra gates. Okay, so in this case, I don't mind 3 racks, so much, as long as he gets a bunker at the front. If you don't get a bunker at the front, you really are going to struggle to stabilize, because you're always going to be having your units picked off, and you're never going to get that like one big tank up to really shut down this position. So without a bunker, this can be problematic. Now, yes, you're going to have a lot of units coming out, but having a lot of units coming out really doesn't mean a single thing. If all of those units that are coming out, like I say, aren't able to connect with anything else, everything else is being picked off. So yeah, this could be concern, a bit of pressure from PartinG, as Dream will take a few more shots, this time from these couple of Adepts. And pushing forward now, Dream is going to end up losing a single Marine, as the Adepts do get pushed away out of there. Trying to shut up that ramp again. Trying to look for a little bit more info. They get in! Alright, well, Adepts into the main base. That depot lift was late, and obviously the Marines are just super out of position for this as well. Two SCVs going down. That is going to be a nice little bit of pressure overall. PartinG is able to collect more of these Adepts now together just out the front. So they're just going to be chilling off to the side. These few Marines coming through. And you got these Adepts just again threatening, right? And it's a lot of Adepts as well. While we're going into Blink behind this, I'm surprised we haven't seen a few Stalkers already added in with these Adepts at this point, honestly. I thought that might have been something we headed toward pretty quickly, but apparently not. I mean, now Stim and Combat Shields are getting close to being done, so we're getting to the end of this kind of Adept pressure, and to the point where the Terran army is going to be pretty powerful. This Adept move is really nice. Dream should just go straight back across the map. Ideal scenario here is for Dream to hit just before that Blink is done. If you can attack before Blink is done, I think you really are going to be in a golden position here, because, I mean, there's just not going to be a lot of power in this Protoss army. You're going to be super reliant on the battery, and I suppose force fields as well. Dream sees this gateway, but he isn't going to look to shut it down. He says, I would much rather get across the map and try and make use of my upgrades, but I feel like, unfortunately, the timing is slipping away. Blink's already going to be done soon. PartinG did a really good job of just slowing Dream down and keeping him at home and just keeping him busy in general. As, whoa, PartinG was down the ramp, though, and that's going to be a moment that Dream can capitalize on. Multiple units going down. Sentry had to pop a Guardian shield, and that just meant that, of course, that there wasn't as many force fields, but the super battery definitely helped. And we're going to turn around. Obviously, with Blink done, like I say, you just can't get kills as easily. We'll target down the sentry. That's a guarantee in this situation compared to the Blink Stalkers, which will just keep blinking out of there. And that is now eventually a cleanup, but not exactly a super pretty one. It did cost PartinG quite a few units initially at the very least, so a little bit costly. As we're now going to be seeing these Stalkers continuing through. And we go from here with Stalkers just sat out the front of the base. And obviously PartinG can maybe apply some pressure. He's just cleaned up all of those units, so let's see. He moves up this ramp. There is no bunker or anything. It is just going to be bio units, and obviously this just allows the Stalkers to just start trading and keep on trading. And that's exactly what they will be doing. These bio units gonna push them away down the ramp again. Stalkers want to come back up. But yeah, you're just getting a lot of value here as PartinG, and well, more Stalkers warping in, so he's going to keep up the pressure while going charge behind this. He did out on that robo base, so we'll see when that comes into play. We're going to get ourselves a Marauder. Just really nice play, honestly, overall by PartinG, just really making use of what he's got. Really doing a very good job of it this far. Now, if you buy in stem forward, 1, 2, 3 Stalkers going down. A 4th Stalker going down as well, and just going to be seeing these Marauders dancing and dancing. I mean, to be fair, you obviously lost a lot of Stalkers here that maybe you weren't initially meant to. I'm surprised we didn't finish off the medevac just to stop some of the micro potential more than anything else. Going to get one of those medevacs now. Now we'll get another. Really nice to get rid of medevacs, of course. In the end, PartinG, I mean, really fun micro war between the two as we had medevac lift-up micro being on point as well. That's why I thought we might just get rid of one of those medevacs, maybe take away some of the freedom that it seems as though Dream had. Well, again, just felt like PartinG lost a few more Stalkers than he might have initially bargained for in this kind of a trade, but I don't think I mind it, because again, you're resetting that bio count. Now he jumps in the main base, and he's really just abusing the lack of mobility of the Terran player here. The Prism is going to escape out of there with those few Stalkers, and that will be it for now. Everything settles down here for the next few moments as we have ourselves a Warp Prism just collecting together on the left as well. Those few Stalkers trying to figure out just what they are going to do. Bio units coming forwards, chasing those Stalkers away. There goes one of them already picked off. And yeah, just seeing, I mean, Colossi building, right? So there is this big tech up behind this as well as Zealots in the main base are going to get rid of an initial siege tank. So you're already slowing down the splash damage potential of your opponent. He's going to cancel this warp in and just say, cool, I'll save these few Zealots and come back later. I think PartinG's playing a beautiful game, guys. It can't really be denied that he's just doing a lot of things right at the moment. He really, really is. It's just really consistently very good stuff. As we're going to be seeing him. I mean, like I said, with the Colossi up back at home, he's just already teched into the next step. He's got a 4th base coming up while the 3rd gets rolling of Dream. And he's just found so much damage across, along the way. Dream is now starting to build Vikings, but will they be in time to really, be the saviors of the day or anything? Well, I feel like that one's a little bit doubtful. The most likely is, again, Zealot Stalker showing up, the Marine Marauder trying to fight. I love that this gateway, by the way, is just still here, powered up by a pylon again. So it's just going to act as a warp-in point. Well, remember that the Prism is still up. Where is that Prism gone to? Okay, the Prism, did it get killed off? Yeah, sorry, the Prism got killed off that we missed, I suppose, by the first 2 Vikings. I'm not sure, but the Prism went down, and a new one was built. So this new Prism coming across the map now. I was going to say, it's nice if that Prism is still in position, threatening with the Zealots to maybe go into the main or something, but that's obviously just not the case here as we knock down this set of rocks. PartinG absolutely looking for the chance right now to come through and to close this one out. Our Vikings just going to sit here, and a couple more Zealots getting warped in. Grabbing that Observer kill, though. I mean, it's nice. Means that PartinG doesn't quite know exactly what's going on. We go for the Prism. It does go low. More easily killed during a fight now, but does get to survive. Cost you a Viking there as Dream. I don't hate that because, like I say, now it is low. It is more easily dealt with. Disruptor's on the way as well, just to emphasize the follow-ups here from PartinG. He's continuing to move along in his tech choices. He's never really been stationary or stuck on like a specific tech choice or anything along those lines, right? He's been pretty good at transitioning all the way throughout this game. He's also been pretty good at flying that Prism straight into Marines. That was obviously not how that's meant to look. So that's a little bit ugly. Loses that Prism a little bit too easily, in all honesty. Now we get the Vikings, Marines, Marauders tanks. I mean, you're just sitting in such a defensive setup, full wall off on the right and left side. PartinG can't realistically attack into that, and that's why PartinG just says, well, I don't need to. I'm just going to keep on expanding. I've got a 5th base on the way already. You know, I'm just going to out-expand you. If you want to sit behind a wall and play ultra-defensive, you do that. Eventually, you've got to make a move out of your base, and that's when I will strike. That's when I will find my moment. That's when I'm going to feel pretty good, as this new Prism going to be popping soon. We have Disruptors in this army already. There is one. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe Disruptors just kind of firing from afar and seeing if they can hit anything, as the Vikings get adventurous. Still a group of units. I mean, they're rallying out of this. Imagine a Disruptor shot went through here and, like, went down there right now. Obviously, you gotta be kind of far forward to do that. That's a little bit risky, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. Like I say, I wouldn't mind to see the Disruptors being a little aggressive, perhaps, and just kind of seeing what they can do. See even if they can find just, like, a couple of pickoffs or anything, as Vikings trying to get set up. We're going to lift up a couple of medevacs of units. Now, dropping is one way to kind of break a Protoss who's obviously just sat here. This War Prism's heading towards the main, and that's actually going to be seen by a turret. And, oh no, PartinG again! The Prism play has been questionable in this game, to be honest with you. As we drop down here, there's a group of Zealots you can actually just fight, right? So, not only do you stop the Prism, but you also stop the setup of Zealots that was kind of coming around the left-hand side. So, yeah, really good just denial of a couple different things there. And PartinG just unable to really get himself ready to kind of hit in 2 different places. So even if he does go for the one larger attack, that's pretty much looking like it's going to be the only thing happening on the map at the time. He sends a lot of Stalkers to the left because he's expecting that drop. He's like, wait, you had a drop heading out over there? But if you try and do that again, my Stalkers are going to be ready for you. So he just sends those out there for the moment, looking to try and catch anything that might come on through. Shadow Stride, Chrono boosting on the Dark Shrine. Just going to be seeing 6 extra gateways, building in the main base as well. Couple of cannons on the way out. And this Zealot going to pick off a single SCV here too, as that Command Center lands down. And we'll just be seeing, well, okay. As this army moved out, PartinG was like, hey, my time to shine, but not going to happen. He does not get anything here, and now being chased hardcore. His Stalkers aren't here, so they can't turn the Vikings around, and that's why Dream is able to crush forward. I mean, big Disruptor shot, does okay, gets a Ghost especially. But yeah, PartinG is finally pushed away from this position he's held for a long time, and the patience of Dream has 100% paid off. DTs are going to be a little bit annoying, and they get a few SCV kills, so another kind of way in which PartinG's ready to deal some damage. But yeah, really nice from Dream, just saying, hey, I'm just going to wait, and I wait, and I wait, and boom, there's my opportunity to actually make a difference in this game. And is able to actually take a really good fight as PartinG just... That was not the position, and now you eat an EMP. Well, you're not going to want to fight now, because your units are going to be feeling low HP and a little bit too squishy. We have got Storm just finishing as well, by the way, so that's going on as well. As DTs, they have already used their blink to get in here, so if we scan, that's a lot of dead Dark Templar. There's still one left. He was EMPing rather than scanning, which is fine, but I actually feel like in this scenario, why not just drop the scan, because now you've used a lot of EMPs across the board. I feel like a scan would have just been a little bit easier. Well, if they had Blinker as well, right? Just, you know, Blink comes off cooldown, you miss the EMP, then you look a bit silly. Not really the biggest issue of all, as Dream plays into Liberator range, and once that Liberator range is on the map, gonna have even more kind of difficulty here, as PartinG to really take some of these fights. Another Disruptor shot does come through, and it does land pretty well. The Vikings wanted to move forward, chasing that Colossus away. The Disruptor being chased down, that will fall as well. And this Bio Army is continuing up the ramp at the moment. Well, a Super Battery activates, and some healing will be done. Again, Dream is not in a position where he wants to go and just run in kind of, thoughtlessly. He's pretty happy kind of playing how he's played so far, which is just safe, cautious, kind of taking his time about it. Hasn't really been doing anything too crazy, right? As just going to see these Vikings going to get themselves a Colossus. Now PartinG's army's worked its way towards Dream's bases. Dream is going to chase this army down. That is a Disruptor shot. That's going to kill a lot of units. Liberator goes down. I feel like if this Disruptor tries to fight, it's just going to die. Well, it's almost like that Disruptor's like, yeah, I know what's going to happen here. So he just gave himself up. PartinG is escaping to this left side, I would say. But I mean, escaping is a weird word to use because I don't know if he's actually getting away. This is almost purely gateway units against an extremely teched up Terran player. PartinG needs to get more tech in this army. He needs to reconvene with some Disruptors, maybe new Colossi, etc. Scan SCVs. I mean, a lot of SCVs going down, but I think it's good enough to actually get rid of the Dog Templar and to save the base. At the same time, PartinG is back in over here. Dream being pulled around a little bit. 18 workers is expensive, so PartinG CT is getting the job done a little bit. Disruptor shot is good as well, and one more. Well, now PartinG's fully committing up this ramp into the main. We're going to start sieging up Libs. Obviously, you've got to fight up your own ramp now. The Disruptor's on cooldown. PartinG is, I'm assuming, about to recall some of these units away. I mean, this was the chance, though. Okay, now he drops the recall down. He blinks some Stalkers out. It actually works almost, I don't want to say perfectly, but it works well. As the last Zealot in the main base gets taken down, too. Dream took a lot of damage here. Remember, he just lost a ton of workers ahead of this as well, so he lost a bunch of workers. Now he's lost a bunch of army chasing this around. And that bottom corner of the Planetary Fortress stands strong, turning those Zealots around, getting those out of here, so they get pushed back and away. 4 more Liberators coming through, and the 2 High Templar in production, and everything from PartinG coming through the center of the map right now, heading down to the bottom side of the map. In we go. Is the Bio Army going to get a nice EMP off? Zealot's getting hurt a lot by that. Again, there's still so many gateway units here. That snipe goes down, but the Disruptor gets the Ghost. The Disruptor and now High Templars and Storms available too. This has been the game changer, being able to actually get the tech online, because that was not available before, and that was the problem. Big Storms landing, still EMPs not hitting the Templar. Finally, one lands, and there's 1 Storm left now. That's it, so that's the final Storm. Libs holding the high ground, as PartinG is just going to sit in this natural. No recall home this time around, right? So if you do get in trouble, you don't have that get out of jail free card. You are going to have to kind of realize that that is something you don't have here, perhaps, because that's problematic if you kind of just sit in it, as we do get ourselves a whole bunch of probes off these Liberators. That's some nice harassment, at least from Dream, doing some damage himself. A lot of Libs here, and mostly just Libs trying to do this. We're going to see this Bio Army getting up this round. The Disruptors, honestly, they do okay, but they could have done better. They could have found chunkier shots, as this fight from PartinG was just not it. You can notice how all of these Liberators survive. Yeah. And that was PartinG's big problem. Like I say, he's kind of backed in a corner, and he didn't have a recall out. So he tried to fight his way out by going through the Liberators, and that's when Dream says, right, let's do this. And like I say, the Disruptor shots, they wasn't like dead center on this Terran army either. There was a couple, they clipped a couple units here and there. They kind of overlapped a bit, honestly. What a fight for Dream to suddenly get back into it supply-wise, because he'd been trailing on supply for some time. His army's very slow going, though, because it's Liberators, and they have to take their time to siege up, take a position, and that's his biggest issue. If he can get a position, brilliant. But before he gets into a position, fights like this on the map are kind of awkward, because you're always running around trying to make it happen, trying to be okay, and just making sure you don't get caught unsieged with those Liberators, because then everything can die so quickly all at once. A fantastic first game of the day here in the UrGaming Arena. Number 2, $300 on the line a day. As Dream and PartinG are already giving us our money's worth at this point. Liberator sieges up off to the right, and it's going to go through a few... Well, there's double Liberator there. Wow, they both blended into one. As you see the DT swiping on that turret. Uh-oh. More Libs trying to siege here. This is what I mean when I say, Libs got to be able to siege up, etc. However, I mean, honestly, you're just needing a few EMPs, and these Archons are going to melt. That's the new issue, I would say, there is with this army of the Protoss right now. It's just so Archon, it's so shield dependent. If you just EMP through that, everything melts, because the moment those Archons die, the Stalkers do not fight for themselves. Like, Stalkers do not trade well when they are the targets, and, they are the front line. I think Dream is starting to eke this back into his favor. 91 to 68 army supply. Yeah, I think Dream is really on the verge of maybe taking this. PartinG doesn't have a +3 armor upgrade as well. Also only stopped at +1 shields. I feel like further of those might have helped in so many scrappy fights, honestly. As those two libs are low, and they will get picked off, but it does involve fighting into a planetary fortress. Planetary is doing some decent splash to begin with. This army is in a bit of a weird position. You can see that Dream's like, can I catch you? The Ghost with energy is down the bottom side. Okay, there's one EMP available here too. If you land that effectively on those Archons, then brilliant. Here comes the army from the other side as well. Drop the EMPs. Again, get rid of the Archons nice and quick. He actually EMP'd his own Medivacs here, so going to be missing out on some of the healing he maybe should have had. As we are just going to fight on in. Another EMP, and that's nice. It's going to keep the battery busy. As we got the Bio Army trying to fight into that battery. The battery finally out of energy, fading away. A couple cannons here trying to help PartinG hold on to this base. Disruptor shot flies forward, but the Bio Army is already dodging out of the way. Another Disruptor shot, and we do just try and line up snipes on Zealots right now. One more Disruptor shot. Are we all on cooldown now? Yes, we are. So this is the moment, but then the Storm's coming in, so Dream cannot push forward. Dream is also in a bit of a pickle when it comes to economy. He's got this base still lifted up. He's got a load of SCVs not mining, and he's already down 20 workers, so his economy is in shambles compared to PartinG. PartinG is mining so much more. It was important for Dream to do something here in terms of dealing damage to PartinG's economy, but he just didn't get there. The defense on that base from PartinG was clutch. It was last second, but it got the job done. And with that, PartinG might have just turned this back into his favor. Especially if this goes on a few more moments, he's mining that much more, and he can turn that into an army to effectively use against the Terran. He's been trading so much worse all game. 10,000 resources lost worse, which doesn't surprise me. We've talked multiple times about how his army composition is not the best. Oh, these Stalkers are going to blink in for the orbital command kill. Yeah, they're going to get it. So this orbital command goes down as Dream was chasing away units to the top left-hand side. So that's a little bit of a mistake by Dream, just leaving it too vulnerable. I mean, Dream just being kind of... I mean, honestly, both of them playing a great game. Double ghost kill as well. Just slips in for the double. Gets one more. PartinG is really taking advantage of a lot of his distractions and of Dream. At some point, he's just pulling his army a little bit too much in one direction over another. Colossi from the top right, by the way. They're going to start lasering down this army as well. Zealots are trying to slide their way through. And they're looking to get on top of this Bioforce as well. Storms from behind! And a Void Ray shows up, and that means these Medivacs are actually just going to go down. Everything falls from Dream, and it's an explosive finish to this TVP. Game number 1, 23 minutes of PartinG and Dream going at each other's throats. And PartinG comes out on top of this first match. Really cool first game where Dream really did at parts have just a better army. But the way in which PartinG used his army was perfect. He really avoided a straight-up fight for as long as he needed to. He really took the trades that were kind of here and there around the map rather than all just in one place and so on. Yeah, it was a really well-played game by PartinG. After it felt like he gave away his initial lead. He got into a good position early, and it felt like that really fell away from him a little bit. As PartinG is our blue Protoss player in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Top left, it's going to be our red Terran player Dream, and I'll just take a moment to say, well, that was a fantastic game 1, so maybe this one ends up on the YouTube channel, which was not the original plan, but now maybe it is. If you do watch this on the YouTube, then do, of course, consider hitting the like button on the video, help more people see these awesome games, and, of course, if you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, then consider subscribing as well. Helps us out a whole bunch as we continue to try and revitalize the YouTube a little bit. Well, not up a little bit over the last week, which is awesome. So appreciate all the love, the interactions, and all that kind of stuff, guys. It really does go a long, long way. Hey, what's up, Mad Jacket GG? Thank you so much for the Prime sub. I really appreciate it. As well, just as we get ourselves into this. Just a quick mention to the stream as well. Usually I wouldn't have a stream delay on for an event like this, but it is ESL Open Cup later, which means that, of course, we are going to be having to have a delay for that, and I'd rather not reset my stream between tournaments, so with that being the case, we are just going to be having a 2-minute delay on today, so If I do say hi and then you guys replying like, well, why didn't you reply to me, Wardy? Well, it's because you guys are on a 2-minute delay, so apologies for that. Looks like you guys are having a good time, though. Great first game of the day. Hell, yeah, absolutely a great way to get the day started. That's what I'm on about. This is an engineering bay block to start things off from Dream, so already kind of making PartinG play his game. He will factory before he expands as well, so already setting up for that. There's our Marine just around on the natural. Heading down the left-hand side. And again, a little bit of a scout around, a little bit of a look to see just what is going on. Going back up to the top, the Stargate is building over here from PartinG as well. Our Adept is moving through over towards the natural as well, so that's just going to be setting up over here. And a couple of Hellions are on the way out of this factory. So again, those couple Hellions up and running. And it's a starport as well before we expand, of course, that starport being on the map. So Dream turning toward the very aggressive setup now, looking to really get across the map and deal some damage. Very early in the game, looking for an early advantage. Let's see if he can get it. As a matter of fact, does start through. Just going to see this Hellion. It's just poking around the bottom side there for a moment or so, and SCV escapes around the left-hand side now instead, and just going to see a couple of Marines producing this factory and drop down a tech lab. And, well, it's just Phoenix from PartinG. Now, Phoenix do pretty well here because they can shut down the medevac, they can lift up the Hellions and minimize the amount of Hellions that are around. The Phoenix do not get an immediate heads up on this. Now the Hellions are unloaded, and they're just going to start running for the mineral line. The problem is you can lift up one Hellion here, and there's still 3 Hellions to deal with. And then you can lift up Hellion 2, yes. And okay, you've gotten rid of one-shot potential, but there's still 2 Hellions running around having a decent time. I mean, this is 5 workers killed. Now the Adepts did get some okay damage done. 6 workers killed. I mean, you got to remember this is very committed from Dream. As he gets to 8 kills, I would say that it's not even quite terrible for PartinG, because again, Dream has a high ground CC. It wasn't expanding as quickly as usual. The only downside to this, I would really say, is that PartinG really did invest into a very safe setup. So to lose 8 workers and to have had Phoenix on the map, that feels a little bit rough, because it's not like he has the greatest of armies sitting ready to do much now. He can maybe counterattack and put some pressure on. Dream is up by a worker or so, so would come out of this on an eco lead. Yeah, looks as though for Dream, this damage is going to be good enough for the moment. So a good enough start to get things underway. And we do have our Aroba facility building up from PartinG as well. These Phoenix come back in. Going to start picking away, shooting away at that orbital just a little bit. And a few Adepts actually are going to get up in towards the main base. So 4 Adepts into the main. Going to get a couple SCVs, and now it gives the chance for these Phoenix to maybe come back through and get a little bit more done, as they are just on hold position. Loses a Phoenix over here. The Adepts are still getting worker kills. I mean, we're now at 7 workers killed. We recall out as well. Okay, but that was kind of weird, losing the Phoenix in the natural. Not sure why you would hold position them as well. Usually if these Phoenix are just AFK here and this one starts getting hit, it would naturally just fly away. So the only reason that doesn't happen is if, like I say, you hold position. And like I say, that's just such a weird position to be hold positioning in, because you don't really ever gain anything by putting them on hold position there. So I'm not sure what that was about. Cyclone lock-on is good with the Viking shots to push those Phoenix off to the side. Uh-oh, Viking's going to take some hits. I like this push. I mean, it's just Adept Phoenix, though. This is the kind of push which I always feel like can do very well, and then the Adept shade on top, the Phoenix come in and lift, and it just feels as though it falls apart very quickly. The Adepts are going down pretty quick this time, though. These Marines are really getting the job done, and focusing on those Adepts, you will lose a Cyclone here, but now another Phoenix will go down, and you've still got a tank and a group of Marines. Put some damage out, and we are going to put some damage onto this pylon, even a Void Ray building actually at the moment. And as we get rid of the pylon, oh my god, that Void Ray just popped out, by the way. That could have been denied if he'd actually targeted the pylon with the Marines, but he was putting his Marine damage elsewhere. Not the end of the world. I mean, the Void Ray would have finished once the new pylon comes up anyway, right? But just one of those things where in the moment maybe it could have made a difference. In this case, it probably really didn't. Void Ray coming in as the Cybernetics core is taken down, so that will fall. This is going to be seeing our Marines and our tanks really actually putting on a good amount of damage still. I mean, this Stargate is genuinely in some trouble. And the first Colossus is out soon. That's really going to be the one unit that can actually push this back much more easily. There goes the Stargate, the Adepts. I mean, are you going to commit? Yes, and that's going to be some friendly fire on these Marines. The Phoenix and the Void wanting to make something happen as well here. Again, with one Colossus up, these tanks have a huge role to play. If these tanks can get rid of the Colossus, you can actually have a good time. The Phoenix is going to lift every single tank up, as there only is a Colossus left on the ground. As the tanks come back down, there goes the Colossus going to die. And so will PartinG's hopes in this game. Dream takes game 2, and we're tied up. Take this in game, as we have got in the bottom left-hand corner. It is going to be our red Protoss player. It is PartinG. I just couldn't quite ever get the units up to defend after those Hellions did the initial damage. Bottom right, it is going to be our... It is going to be our Blue Terran player, Dream. This time PartinG is going to open with the pylon in a very forward, very aggressive position here. So getting this set up. Now, Dream is not scouting just yet, but there is an SCV that should head out for the scouts. That's actually pretty neat, because obviously scouting here is kind of important. So yeah, nice and important just to get that scout across the map and to figure out that this is indeed a proxy, and that means you can start responding to it accordingly, right? And you can start getting your correct answer up and all of that good stuff. So yeah, that's what we like to see. Pylon goes down. Idea of this pylon obviously is to initially block the add-on. I'm just going to rebuild it so you don't necessarily... so you can't wall off. He's going to cancel it so you can get the Zealot in. SCV tries to block, doesn't get it. And that Zealot's just going to stay here to provide access into this main base for further units that come out from PartinG. So PartinG already playing a cute little setup initially. Reaper and the Marine, though, will get the kill on this Zealot. SCV, run for your life. New Zealot showing up. And we will now start to build a bunker with that low HP SCV. Uh-oh, Marine does take its first shot of damage now. The Marine's like, Reaper, can you do your job faster, please? Finds another SCV, and that is actually a kill. But yeah, good micro on the Marine otherwise. There's now a Stalker showing up, though, so this is where problems will still arise. There's two Marines and the Reaper. Look to push that Stalker back and away. And that is going to be the Stalker pushed out of there for the moment. Well, PartinG behind this has decided, you know what? I'm going to take the gold base. So a gold base on the way through in this map 3. Now that's dangerous if Dream starts getting on the map, if he starts applying pressure. It's not easy to defend a gold base, of course, right? That's absolutely a lot of the time going to be your big problem here. So it's not going to be easy to defend that gold. I definitely foresee that being, like I say, problematic. But I suppose let's see how it goes down as this Reaper comes back around the left and just going to be seeing the reactor coming down on the barracks. The starport is still building up on this main base as well. So all of this coming through as the Stalker is actually going to find the Reaper kill. So yeah, Dream gets shut down. He knows about the gold at least, so he knows what he's up against, and he can make some decisions around that. For a moment, it looked like the factory wanted to give the tech lab to the starport, but actually we're going to go and just put that factory back down and start building tanks. I wonder if there's some kind of push here where you can just go behind the gold and you can really deny it from there with tank fire, etc. So I wonder if that, because it's kind of weird early game to get up here because it's kind of far away from everywhere else. So yeah, I do wonder about that a little bit. He just drops a third CC immediately, so Dream's just like, okay, but now I'm just going to expand. But you've got to remember that gold base isn't always just a full-on economic play. You know, it's not just about, it's not just greed, but it allows you, once it's up and running, it gives you the potential to be more aggressive than usual. Because once that gold base is rolling, you get into this position where you obviously are mining a lot more with the same amount of workers, or you get to a certain amount of economy with less workers, so faster than usual, so you can power up certain aggressive attacks more easily. So in that regard, I'd be a little bit worried that PartinG maybe has something like that planned, because that's the exact sort of style that PartinG loves. I remember way back in like Wings of Liberty when very fast third bases first became a thing. PartinG was one of the first people to do it, and he would go like 3 base, super greedy, and then he would add on like 8 extra gateways, and it would just be like 9 gates of like, gateway units warping in. And everyone's like, well, that's crazy, but the whole idea is you're being super greedy to then be very aggressive after. This very much so works in the same way. You're being a bit greedy, taking that gold, and then you can maybe just add on extra pressure because you've got that economy sooner. Looks like it's not going to be that much pressure, though, because we're already setting up for the natural expansion. So in this case, it is just going to be, for the most part, an economy boost all along, and not too much aggression, as these Stalkers are going to position down here, and they're going to look to catch any flying medevac or so that tries to go across the map through this bottom side. Obviously, 2 extra barracks building. We're just going to be able to see those getting ready for the tech labs, and then we can go into our stim pack and our combat shields. So we move into that. This few extra Stalkers finish warping in, and we get ready to push at the front into an engineering bay, bunker, and a couple of depots as the wall off. Obviously, most importantly, behind that wall off, there is a siege tank. So tank is there and ready to play. Charge upgrade coming through from PartinG. Just seeing that Temple Archive starting up as well. Still got a few Stalkers poised to maybe strike. The Marines and our Raven just joining on up, just hanging around. Dropping down additional couple of barracks, and like I said, it's just going to allow you to get all those upgrades going. I thought one of these barracks was further along, so... Oh, there it is, yeah. I was going to say... I feel like that actually was meant to be already landed, and it actually, like, he rallied the racks while it was in the sky, so it started flying to the natural, and it's just flown back. But I don't feel like combat shields was ever initially set to be this late or anything, you know? Storm is building from PartinG. Let's get that Storm online. Again, a few more Templar coming out, Prism still on the way through. Zealots and High Templar. Moving between these bases, again, Dream has just not been able to go across the map and do anything about this gold base. So this has just been something PartinG has gone away with basically for free, as you will now grab a free Marine as well, and an SCV takes a tank shot, but obviously Dream just trying to get a missile turret up and establish some control at the front of his bases. And just looking to be prepared to deal with PartinG and whatever he might bring next. Bioforce is coming around. Just going to start pushing up this ramp. Oh, PartinG's in a bit of a weird place. Nice Matrix on the Prism is going to mean that the High Templar can't get out right away. Now, this Bioforce still moving up. Nice force field, but not quite good enough. And the last force field was just late, so Dream saves a lot of his Marines. Yeah, this became awkward for PartinG because he was like, yeah, this fight's fine because I'm about to drop my High Templar down, and that'll be great for me. Because then I can storm, but obviously when the Prism gets Matrix, the High Templar can't drop out. And that's where Dream actually gave himself a lot of opportunity. These units still out of position, though, and the storms are going to kill so much. At first I thought he might just be able to lift up and get out of there. The feedback on the Raven at the end of this as well. But the storms got out, and this time around, Dream does take a bunch of damage. PartinG takes a bunch as well. Definitely wasn't a freebie. Tanks were hitting this army from afar. And again, Dream seems very comfortable to just sit back, wait, and just play a very slow-going game. You know, he's very happy to just play something here, which is just, he doesn't have to commit super quick. He can just kind of let this play out over time. Very chill, very laid back. Very, very interesting stuff as we're going forward, and that's a tank shot, which will turn around a few Stalkers. Find an observer, but only one Marine to try and get the kill. You can maybe auto turret for it when you get the energy. There's some Marines on this other side fighting Zealots right now, and they actually are going to be able to... Oh my god! Dream! Kill the observer! Okay, Dream lost track maybe of the observer and what was going on there. As, no, he's still on the hunt for it. Oh my god. This one Marine is really just hunting this up. No! Where are we going? Oh my goodness. This Battle of the Observer has been one of the most intense things I've seen. We hit the feedback on the Raven again, just keep that energy low. Obviously, is generally good. I can't believe that this Observer and Marine danced so hard, and that in the end nothing went down because of it. That is kind of crazy. All of these tanks between the natural and the third base. A bit of Bio Army will move out. A few Ghosts joined in with this as well. Oh, Storm Drop on the third base gets 10 SCVs. So that goes down. A few of the SCVs are already going to fall. And so you have the Bioforce coming up to the top and looking to maybe intercept that Prism. Stop it from moving around up here. This is actually nice because you got the Vikings that can get on top of this as well. So this Prism has to recall, and it's too late to recall. So High Templars are killed. It's a massive pick off for Dream, actually. It's all well and good doing these fancy storm drops and stuff, but if you just have your Prism sat there AFK and you can't get out and back home, well, yeah, then it becomes very expensive. Then it isn't so pretty. And then that fancy play for 10 SCVs is not as worthwhile. You know, the cool part of that was that you were getting out without any damage taken, but obviously no longer the case. All of these units from PartinG around in the center. 2-2 upgrades still coming up. Just going to see that there's the same story from Dream as well. As we settle down on this high ground. So, a few Vikings and the Raven wanting to try and see what they can maybe get done as our Bio Army will step forward a little bit. Ghosts coming through, and that's going to be an EMP on top of a couple of Zealots and some Stalkers. We lined up a snipe there for a moment. We do kill off this sentry, and that Bio Army still chasing down this little group of units. At the moment, it seems like that will be it, though, and we do actually have this Bioforce still being chased away again. PartinG is going to drop a massive storm on these few Bio units that were just wandering around, not really sure where their destination was meant to be, and they just get slaughtered. Well, again, I mean, both sides are having kind of good moments where they get a good fight off, and then moments where they have a fight that isn't so pretty. Obviously, PartinG goes to 5 bases. The thing with Blackburn is this is very easily a map which goes very similar to what that game number 1 looked like. Very slow going, difficult to push into each other, so you get a lot of just kind of standoffs where, you know, each player kind of looks at the other guy and says, yeah, you want to fight? And the other guy's like, yeah, you want to fight? And they're both like, yeah, well, we don't really want to fight. Because it involves, involves one of them pushing into the other, and that's usually tough to do. I would say this map's a little bit tougher for PartinG to actually do the multi-prong stuff he was doing before, and that's maybe why he goes into just double Stargate and double Disruptor production. He also associates that this map is going to just be a little bit more kind of laid back in general. And just again, more about kind of bigger single army movements than just splitting things up and making things happen in multiple places. As some Stalker harassing the main, going to be joined by Zealots. This is a good chunk of supply being spent on this. There's a lot of Terran units showing up, though. We are going to lose the Raven, though. As the Bio units, like I said, there's a lot of them, but then there's a single Storm available, too. Zealots have made it to the mineral line as this one Archon is next to fall. 6 SCV is already dead. Nothing else happening on the map at the same time, so neither player setting up to do anything while this happens. As I feel like those Vikings maybe needed to stay on the ground. These few Marauders are, not actually having enough DPS to get rid of the Zealots. Finally, it is cleaned up. And PartinG, Fleet Beacon and an extra Stargate. We are well on the way towards that kind of later game carrier-based transition, usually. Maybe Tempest if he feels like he needs them to shoot down libs, but we don't really see a sign of that just yet, so probably not going to be the case. GTs are going to kill off that missile turret, and we do see the Ghost going to line up a nuke onto this gold, so it's going to be trying. I mean, this is kind of mined out. Remember that this game started with this gold base being the first expansion of the Protoss, but still 9 probes going down, so the nuke is good. My Tempest going through, and again he EMP'd initially, so losing their energy. And this little push down the bottom side, plus the combination of an attack at the top, and Dream now splitting up into multiple directions. Dream's starting to look pretty good here. As we line up another nuke, this time on this base on the bottom side. I don't think that goes off. I'm not sure where the Ghost is. Oh, the Ghost is high ground, so maybe it does go off, actually. Maybe he gets away with this. Yep, it's going to go down, but... well, actually does clip the edge of the army as well. That nuke right on top of this, and PartinG not having the best time finding the nukes at the moment. As the Zealot goes down, this Robo goes down. You've got Disruptors coming through, and that's a good first Disruptor shot. I think obviously you're getting to see the carriers are on the way here as well, so you know about that at least as Dream. We'll see what he does about it. Obviously more Vikings, Liberators, just air control in general will help against that. Have a single Ghost that's now in the main base. This main base is actually just like a gateway farm. Like, my goodness, there's 16 gateways or something in this main. And that's where the next nuke is going to be landing. This PartinG has got to be looking around thinking, like, god damn it, where are these nukes? Multiple nukes landing so far. Obviously, this one you can't exactly lift up the gateways and dodge out of the way, but still not a bad little connection. The Ghost will hide in the corner, try and stay alive, and PartinG, again, just has to spend some time paying attention to that and clearing it out, as now we're lining up a nuke onto the natural expansion. This time PartinG does see it. He starts to pull back, but at the very least, it's still going to be denied mining time. Probably still going to... well, these Zealots were there, and he actually kills the Observer. That was here as well, so the Observer goes down. The Zealot goes down, some of the stack defense. The Forges with the 3-3 building on them coming up still, as we do have a Ghost still just hidden in the main. The Ghost play, the nuke play is actually fantastic out of Dream. This one Ghost has got 16 kills, has just been calling down nuke after nuke, and here's another one, this time on the main. Dream splitting up his army. He's actually going to see the major army on the top side, so he's going to retreat home with the rest of his forces. But he can now drop the main base where... oh, the nuke is cancelled. The Ghost does go down finally, but there's not a lot of units over here. You're going to force the recall, which is obviously huge. He empowers a few gateways, and it's time to get out of there. He just double checks what the recall is, just to make sure it really is something he should be backing away from, which it is. And I'm not sure about him dropping here, because obviously this army was moving in over here, and I feel like he knew that as well. I feel like this was a commitment that wasn't really necessary, wasn't really something that made a lot of sense. As these Zealots continue to charge on forward, and a lot of that Marine Marauder getting cleaned out. The Bioforce of Dream is continuing through to the top left-hand side of the map now, as Carriers and Zealots and Stalkers are going to push forward here. We get rid of a medevac. The Bio Army coming through, a couple of these cannons falling down, and this Nexus is probably in some trouble as Zealots charge in from the right-hand side. Yeah, the Ghosts are doing what they can. I mean, this is going to be a cleanup from PartinG, and Dream's army supply is just devastated at the moment. Feels like he's been very comfortable for the most part in these games. He actually does line up this nuke behind the mineral line. Feels like he's been very comfortable for the most part in this game. Like, PartinG hasn't applied a lot of pressure to him most of the time. As this is actually going to land dead center for all of the probes on the base. Ouch. But yeah, obviously you lose one big fight and everything can turn around so quickly in a matchup like this one. A couple of Ghosts just get hit by Disruptors, and the rest of the army is here to protect those Disruptors from just being sniped down. So many Zealots. There's actually no answer to all these Zealots. And that means that if there's no ground army, then these Vikings just get chased away by Stalkers. And that, of course, means that then the Carriers have free reign, and Dream supply is just plummeting. It is extremely low compared to where it wanted to be. Yeah, it is just not where I wanted to be at all anymore. Yeah, I mean, the nukes have been great from Dream, but unfortunately the overall setup now is just not powerful enough. He's down 70 army supply. Just going to go on through, just going to be having now a... well, the space is just dead. I mean, there's no two ways about it. And honestly, I don't see anything to stop this army just continuing to advance on through. I do not think Dream has the army composition anymore. He just lost a few too many units during all of this. Fantastic series, though. Really exciting best of 3 between Dream and PartinG. 10 out of 10. Would cast again. Oh, the final Disruptor shot of the game, perhaps, is big. Hang on. Hang on, no, Dream, you really? You're gonna leave the game before this nuke lands? What if it killed everything? It probably wouldn't have been enough, but... Oh no, that nuke was maybe gonna land, guys. That would have